Hello everyone, welcome back to Football Manager 2020. Today we're going to be having not the most interesting day, but we are going to be capping it off with an important, although fairly easy match. We've got a friendly against Young Tigers coming up next, which will really just be more of me working through the remaining remnants of my roster. And then we've got the second match, which is the actually important one. It's our first match in this year's Continental Cup, or African Champions League match against Vipers, who are well below us in terms of ability, so we shouldn't have any problem with them. But it's a match that actually matters, and stuff has gone horribly wrong before in those sort of things. But mostly I just want to get through the session today without taking any injuries because our roster is substantially thinner than it was last year. We can't afford to have people going down with injuries. And we kind of knew this was coming. Losing Sabia is a big hit, though. We do need the money, but it hurts to just see all these good players heading out the door. And this is exactly what we didn't want to happen, although it's an under 21 player, so it's not the worst. But we might have needed to rely on Malefe for some of this season. But he's down for 2 months with a hernia. Double hernia. I don't know what the difference is, but sounds bad. We're able to still nominate a pretty solid team here. CB and Tao are the only outfield players we're not changing for this one, but it's a pretty good squad still. A lot of these people were on the pitch for the last match, and we're just moving them around to keep them comfortable in multiple positions, which, even more than previous seasons, is going to be really important this year. Ideally, I'm going to want everyone to be able to play like 3 positions. We're a little rough at the back. Mirosavic's not great. Senamela's pretty awful. CB's fallen off a lot and is now pretty awful too, but we're going to need him. And that's it. So it's really just these 3 players right here that are our problem area. Probably why they were recommending moving Siasi over to this side so that he'll sit behind CB and we'll have a little better coverage on him than if Mirosavljevic was back there. I'm hoping we can grab some free loans for the season where the home club will still pick up the salary of the player being loaned, but to toughen up our squad a bit. But we're not really going to make much of a play for loan players until almost to the end of the transfer window. That's just the way it always seems to shake out. Beforehand, the board's usually more interested in trying to bring in new players, even if we have no money. And then once the transfer window's almost closed, then they panic and bring in a bunch of people on loan. The only real injury we need to be aware of going into this is Tau, who's recommended to be limited to 45 minutes. And since it's a friendly, I'll probably honor that. Unless I forget. I do need to get him match sharp sooner rather than later. But he's coming off that ankle injury, and I don't want to push things too far and re-injure him because we need him. We need him badly because most of the weak spots in our team are in our defensive line. So we need to just get out and score 3 or 4 goals a match so that we can hopefully outscore the teams we're playing against. We're not the team to be grinding out 1-0 victories. Which is going to take some adjustment on my part because most of my strategy with this team throughout my managing has been having a solid defense and grinding out 1-0 victories with a squad that couldn't hit the broadside of a barn if they tried. And all of a sudden, like, the good players are in offense and we've lost most of our solid defense, so it's going to be somewhat of a change of strategy. It's going to be similar to last year because we were having those problems at left back last year, so, and in fact the year before, so it's not unheard of, but the defensive line has gotten substantially weaker with all the sales we've made. I'm actually a little surprised the team hasn't revolted more about it, but I think they understand the financial realities of our situation as well as anyone else. We're doing pretty good. We've kept them from having a shot on us so far, but this is a team that's well below us, so they shouldn't really be too much of a threat, even with our weak defensive line. This is mostly just an excuse for us to get match fit before the next week where things are going to get tough. I think next week is probably going to be one of our roughest weeks of the season. Because we've got Sundown and then Tunis. And Tunis is way better than us. So we pretty much know we're going to lose that. And Sundowns have been tricky the last couple of years. And we're a lot weaker team than we were the last time we took them on. And we lost that outing too, so... I'm kind of thinking we might end up losing both those matches, but I'm hoping not. I hope we can at least knock Sundowns out because that was a really bad draw for us and it would be nice to be able to get past them. We've kind of been unlucky with our draws this year because we've got Sundowns. And then we've also in the African Champions League, if we manage to get through the draw we've got in the current round, which we should, because they're not very good, we have the potential of facing one of the strongest teams in the group in the next round. And so we could potentially get knocked out of the Champions League embarrassingly early. Which is going to set us up for a rough season to begin with because it's going to piss the board off. McQuaquina got a goal assisted by Tau there. But it's going to piss the board off before the season even starts. And that's going to make for a long, rough season. Given that we have a team that's probably not going to perform at the level they want from it because I kind of inflated their expectations with our performance last season. And I don't think they've accounted for the fact that we've sold so many players with their expectations. We'll see. They have one more chance to revise them before the season actually starts. But currently they want us challenging for the title. And I think we can challenge for it, but that's getting up in like the top 3 places. I think we can pull that off. But it's not going to be as easy as it was last year. Fountain, another assist by Tao. So Tao's definitely making his presence felt while he's on the pitch. That's creating a bit of a dilemma, though, because I'm going to want to keep him out since he's playing so well. But on the other hand, I have to manage his injury. So we're going to see what his physical condition's looking like at the half. It's a friendly, so I'm more willing to sub him than I would be in a competitive match. But like right now, he's still at 77% fitness. And we're going into halftime, so there's a good chance he'll be over 80 coming back out. And I really don't want to sub him off if he's still in that good condition. But I think I'm going to have to listen to the doctors. Tau. He's back up to 80. He's having an 8.3 rated match, so this is going to hurt. But I'm going to listen to medical advice, and I'm going to take him off for Nalongo. Nalongo needs match fitness anyway, or match sharpness anyway. And I don't want to risk an injury to Tau, who I'm desperately going to need when we get actual competitive matches. I probably won't push him in Uganda at the weekend, but next week I'm going to want to be able to get good time out of him. And that's going to require me to manage it now. Malongo's not great. Like, that's a huge drop from having Tau in. We've been playing well enough I didn't feel the need to sub anyone else off for performance reasons or so. And everyone's still looking pretty fit. Oh, nice strike from CB. Now that I'm putting him in the first team, he might be able to crawl his way back to 3-star status. Like, he's not that old. He shouldn't be washed. He's just horribly out of practice because I've had him sitting on the reserve squad for like 4 years. That was a good save because Fountain almost scored on him there. That Lake Kalala has been working out well for me. He's one of the only players we've brought in, and I'm glad we did. Fountain's looking kinda timid. I guess that's to be expected. He's not super comfortable in the role I've got him in. This is going the way I want a preseason match to go, though. Like, we're looking good here. Alright, let's see how everyone's stamina's doing. Gonna have to keep an eye on Siasi, but he's playing well, so I'm gonna keep him in for now. Tunkara is not having a great game and is starting to get close to being tired. I'm going to take him off, especially because he's not paying attention. And I do need to get minutes on Atladisa. He's a little bit weaker, but I need to have backup wingers, and I'm going to have to play those 2.5-star players more this season. The luxury of having to have a 3-star, trying to have an entirely 3-star team has gone out the window with our financial situation. I'm going to get Siasi off now. There's no point in running him into the ground. We'll give Matthias some minutes. He's actually gotten a little better from his positioning last year, and he's playing more in the position he's good at, but 2.5 stars isn't ideal. That back line is really weak, and it's going to be for this whole season. We just know that. It's really going to be a case where the club just has to come through on the striking, because we're not winning matches on having a good defense. We just need to go out and bully people into submission. I'm probably going to keep us set to attacking all season, even against teams like Pirates that we probably should be more defensive, just because we're going to need to go out and score goals. It's our only hope. Matenjwa gets our third, assisted by Atladisa, so it's nice that we're already easing Atladisa into the side. That was actually a pretty tough goal Matenjwa scored there. It was a really bad angle, so I'm pleased that we're pulling that sort of thing off. That's the level of striking we're going to need from this club. Fountain could stand to come off because he's tired. No one's playing a bad match. I'm going to take Fountain off for Nixeli. Just I don't want to run him too tired. Nixeli's not... He's really bad at this position. Like, he's a 1.5 star. We don't really want him on the field, but I need to have someone that can step into that position. And Mirasavic just scored, assisted by Malongo, so we're exerting our will on this team. But like I said, these guys aren't good. We're not really worried about them. It's good for the team's mentality, though. We want them to expect to have to come out and score 4. I do like that we've managed to hold Young Tigers to not getting a single shot on goal. Probably should have taken Matenjwa off too. He's getting tired now, but I'm not making a substitution with 2 minutes left to play. I've never understood the point of managers making substitutions at like 30 seconds left on the clock. I've always figured it was just to get people's names on the record as having played in the game, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, that was a good win, but it wasn't super impressive. We knew we were going to win there, and we knew we were going to win by a bunch. The big thing that's good is that I was able to manage our minutes so that no one got hurt, and most of the club isn't too tired. I left Matenjwa in there too long. And that might be an issue when we go to Uganda. But the left wing I actually have some depth at, so I'm not super worried. I can play someone else there and it won't be too bad. And hopefully, I mean, we've got a fairly long gap before the match. Hopefully, Matendra gets enough rest and he's resilient enough that I can put him in. Because I do want him out there a lot during competitive matches, but we'll have to see what his condition is. He's not the worst player to have let get too tired. And mostly I just want to keep people from getting injuries. Why am I watching this? We already played the match. Force a habit because I watch those in my personal games. That's what I get when I record these when I'm kind of tired. It's kind of nice. As bad as our main team is doing with hanging on to players because of our financial situation, we've been doing pretty well at poaching youth players this season. Oh, Malongo got sold again. We're getting money from that. It's only $7,500, so not very helpful to our financial situation. But every little bit counts. That's paying a couple of salaries this month. We have managed to stem our bleeding a lot. 9-0 for the youth. That's nice. Super Sport are trying to buy Foster. And looks like they're succeeding. That's unfortunate. He was a good backup. Flamini's been doing awesome. Tune Car is worried about his work permit. I'd like to let him go and get time to guarantee that he gets a work permit, but I need him for depth on my squad. I don't want him to be a starter. But he's going to need to come on late in the season when people are getting tired and hurt. Fortunately, he took that well. I was expecting him to get mad. Usually they get mad when I tell them I'm not going to do anything to ensure that they keep a work permit, but everything's been going rather well given the quality of our squad, but we're not really going to have a feel for how things are going to go this season until that Sundowns match. And that's not coming until my next recording session, so this one's going to leave us still fairly up in the air about how the team's doing. We're definitely going to try to field a pretty strong squad here, even though we don't probably need to against these guys. It's unfortunate that we have to play Likalala over here on the left instead of on the right, but Adam is just such a better player. I think the benefits of having Adam in on the right outweigh the weaknesses of having Lee Kalala on the left. Oh, we're actually able to bring a new player into reserves. I wasn't expecting that. I do not agree with our assistant coach there. I mean, yeah, we do have to respect Vipers. They are a good enough team to have made this competition. But we're going to go out and bully them. Even though we're away, we are going to try to pummel these guys. Jeez, there's a lot of matches happening today. He's been playing really well on his loan. I'm happy with that. There's a good chance I'm going to have to recall him early, so I'm really happy with how he's performing on that loan. Yeah, I agree with the fans. It should be an easy win. And then everyone's taking Maduli on trial. McBakwane, I don't want to lose him. Really don't want to lose him, but it looks like we're losing him. Been selling tickets well anyway. And don't need to worry about anyone's fitness. That's good. But the players that are coming back from injuries are good to go for the entire match. 29 degrees. That's hot, but not excessive. Very good pitch. Yeah, things are looking good here. If I have to go to Uganda for a match, these are things are looking about the way I want. Bring Tao in up here. Things are good. Mirosavic's not as good as I'd want. Lee Kalala is pretty weak over on the left back there, and everyone else on the team's good. So this is probably going to be our starting lineup for a lot of the matches, and I'm pretty happy with it. The only issue is when we start taking injuries and we start losing a lot of these better players. I'm surprised I hadn't given Lee Kalala a squad number yet, but I guess he's only been in friendlies where it doesn't matter. Looks like a little bit of a small pitch, but not too bad. We should still have room to move here. And Matenj was a little tired, but he did bounce back pretty good for me overusing him last game, so I don't really have to worry about managing people's fitness this game, which is good, because I like my substitutions to be performance-based more than anything, but in a game like this, it's probably going to be fitness-based, because I suspect by the time we get around to making subs, everyone's going to be up into 7s and 8s on performance, just because that's what usually happens when we're bullying a weaker team. We've got a very good team on the pitch here. I'm actually a little concerned about starting them here, because it means I'm probably not going to have all of them available for the Sundowns match. Now, the Sundown match is a lot less important. It's the Super 8 Cup, which the board doesn't give a fuck about. And neither do I, to be honest, but I don't like losing, so I still want to win it. They're actually doing a pretty good job of parking the bus. I think this field is a little on the small... Like I said, this field was a little on the small side, and I thought we'd have room to move. But it's looking like it is just too small for us to have the room to break through their lines. So it's going to be contingent on them getting tired and starting to leave openings later in the match. We're usually pretty good at exploiting that. That's how we won a lot of games in the last few seasons. Oh, there we go. Fountain got one through, assisted by Tao. It's not quite the bullying I was expecting. I thought we'd be up by at least 2 right now, but being up by 1 in the first 20 minutes means that this match is probably not going to be a problem. Fountain's been paying off in spades this year. He underperformed horribly last year, but he was injured for a lot of it. This year he's been looking really good. Everyone's looking a little hesitant here, so I'm hoping to get some comfort with each other through the course of this match too, because we're going to need them to be a lot more comfortable on the ball when it comes to Sundowns. And I'm glad I was able to get Tunkara on the pitch after he was concerned about his work permit. I'm able to reward him for having some faith in me. Too often when I tell them that they just have to trust me because I'm not getting rid of them or loaning them out over a work permit because I need them, I then end up not playing them for like 6 months and struggling to get the work permit, and they get all upset. But being able to play Tunkara the next match was helpful. Even if I'm only playing him in the cup, it should be enough to show the government that he is a valuable player, and we do need to grant him his work permit and keep him on the team. That was a little bit embarrassing. 2 of our own players ran into each other. Nice attempted strike by Mirasavic. Too bad there was someone right in front of him when he took it, but I bet that left a mark on the guy that was blocking. He's going to remember that tomorrow. We're really not doing very well at breaking through their defenses, but they've looked like no threat to us, and since we are up by a goal, I'm kind of okay with this. I want to get the South African our team used to scoring big goals, but South African pitches tend to be larger than a lot of the other ones on the continent, so at least based on my experience in these continental tournaments, so I'm less worried that we can't break through defenses on this tiny pitch than I would be if it was in a Premiership match that we were getting blocked off like this. And even there, as long as they're not scoring on us, they can sit and park the bus all day if they want. It's just we're going to need a big goal differential to make up for the fact that our first string defenders are mostly good, although we do have two below average still out there, but we have two really good ones too. But they're not going to be able to play every game. They're either going to get hurt or just tired, and there's going to be times we need that defensive line we had out there last match, and they're bad, and so we need to be able to deal with that. A team that can only score one on Vipers SC is probably not able to deal with that fact against stiff competition. But on the other hand, it is off season, and we did travel quite far for this match, so the guys being a little jet lagged is fair. And we're getting good runs in. We're just not taking our time on the actual shots. We've actually, once again, our fatigue's being managed pretty well. Like, no one's that tired for almost 60 minutes and close to 30-degree heat. I mean, people might look at it and be like, you're from South Africa. Your team should be able to handle the heat. But having managed there for as long as I have at this point, we don't really get 30-degree days. The only day that we play at like this high a temperature is when we're away in more northern Africa. Like, it seems like South Africa is warmer than it is where I'm used to in Canada, but not like exceptionally hot. Tunkara gets a goal assisted by Matenjwa. So these guys are probably feeling the pain of this type of hot weather. They're not used to it at all. Like, I think it gets this hot in like January in February, and that's why we don't play any games then. Let's see. Pretty easy McQuaquana is coming off here. No one looks particularly appealing to put in for him, but I'm going to put in Torre just to get him some match sharpness. I believe another club is trying to buy him, but I'm going to assume he's going to stay with us until and proven otherwise, and I want him to have some match sharpness. I can't ride Makwakwena for the entire season. Torre needs to be able to come off the bench and fill in. No, wait, I think it was Traore that got sold. Torre, I think, has been around and just not as good. It's kind of confusing having two guys with names that close together. Let's get Mirosavic off. Get Matias some playtime. This hasn't been the route I was expecting, but we have comfortably won the match, which is nice. And we'll get the route in Durban when we go back there. A lot of these clubs play substantially better at home than they do away, and I think it's the pitch size is one of the big issues. I mean, I know there's a home field advantage, but it doesn't appear to be that much in this game. But the fact that a lot of these guys play a defensive, like pack the box strategy, and they have these small pitches seems to really benefit them. Let's get Le Kalakala. I've been saying his name wrong the whole time. It's Le Kalakala, not Le Kalala. But anyway, we'll take him off and put Adam on for the last 10 minutes. Adam's really bad at this position, but we want all of our defenders to be in as good match shape as possible and at least passingly familiar with as many positions as possible, because we don't have a ton of depth there, and so people are going to need to fill in a lot of positions. And like Adam is third string for left back, but all it takes is one injury and a busy bit of schedule, which, as I'm sure people have seen last season, definitely happens, and we're going to need to be playing him, so. Tao's looking pretty tired after his first full match, so I doubt I'm going to have him for the Sundowns match. Because that's only like 3 days away. I don't think he's going to recover in that time. I'm probably going to have to put Torre or someone there and just hope that, they're not too bad. Hope that Sundowns is coming in battered too. Or just not taking the cup seriously at all. Because if Sundowns fields a whole team of kids, we might actually be able to get the win. I don't mean to sound negative. Our first squad could definitely win it, but we're tiring them out pretty good here, and it's only like 2 days away, that next match, so I don't think a lot of them are going to be fresh. But sacrifices had to be made, and that's definitely the weakest or least important match we have coming up in the next bit. Oh, that's cool. I never noticed there was a referee rating before. He did really well in this match. Le Kalakala made his debut for us, and Adam made his 125th appearance. Team did do well, even though we were only able to score 2 goals there. I wonder what the VAR was for. I didn't notice anything from that. Tunkara ended up being our player of the match. That's always good. Didn't cheer him up that much that I told him he did good, though. That's unfortunate. Some people are hard to cheer up with praise, and that makes it tough if they're not playing regularly, because the only other way to boost them is to have them win games, and that gets harder the worse mood they're in. So I tried to keep them high with like in good mood with praise, and it's just not always possible. Anyway, that was our matches for today. Join us next time. We're going to be taking on Sundowns in the Super 8 quarterfinal. I'm sure you're familiar with them. We've been facing them a lot. And then we get ES Tunis in the Super 8 Cup, which is probably not going to go well for us because they're a half star higher than we are. We're going to need them to have a bad match for us to have a chance. Losing that match, much like the Super 8 quarterfinal, doesn't really matter. The board's not going to be overly bothered by it. But it's going to be nice if we can get our team in there. Just going to check. I'm showing Matenjwa took an injury in that match, and I don't recall seeing a message about that. I don't see anything on it. It's probably just that he's not fully regained his fitness after that last injury he took. That must be what it is. I don't normally look at this screen, so I'm noticing things that I never see. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and hopefully you'll be back next time for some matches with some stakes. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good day.